Good morning and welcome to Africa This Morning. It is the 21st of February 2014. Let's start the day with the headlines.
Ukraine violence. Many killed in fresh clashes after the overnight truce declared by President Viktor Yanukovych fails. Boko Haram insurgency. 47 people killed in the northeastern town of Bama. Libya politics. Libyans go to the polls to elect a new body to draft a new constitution.
It's overcrowded, the sanitation, water and the food, it's not adequate in this place, so it's affecting the population.
Food shortage in Somalia. With more than 850,000 food insecure, the UN warns of a food shortage.
At least 20 people have been killed in fresh clashes in Kiev, shattering an overnight truce declared by Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych. Dozens of police officers were reported dead or injured.
Activists hurling petrol bombs and paving stones drove riot police off a corner of the central Independence Square known as the Maiden and appeared to capture several uniformed officers. Police responded with stun grenades. The clashes erupted shortly before three visiting European foreign ministers met Yanukovych to push for a compromise with his pro-European opponents. The meeting was delayed for security reasons but began an hour late.
We've seen these horrific pictures from Kiev, which are some of the largest uses of force in Europe in recent memory. Very worrying. This has to stop. We'll be exploring what can be done to prevent the recurrence. But we are realistic. We are under no illusion that the outside world can solve Ukraine's problems. One positive aspect of the situation is that the authorities and the opposition are talking to each other quite frequently. And these talks need to get real.
The death toll since Tuesday now stands to at least 43. Both sides have accused the other of using live ammunition. Pro-EU activists have been keeping vigil in the square since the president turned his back on a trade pact with the bloc in November and accepted financial aid from Moscow. The crisis in the sprawling country of 46 million with an ailing economy and endemic corruption has mounted since Yanukovych, under pressure from the Kremlin, took a $15 billion Russian bailout instead of a wide-ranging deal with the EU. The United States stepped up pressure on Wednesday by imposing travel bans on 20 senior Ukrainian officials.
Gunmen from Nigeria's Boko Haram group attacked the northeastern town of Bama, opening fire on a school, shooting and burning to death 47 people and trashing the palace of a traditional leader.
Borno State Senator Ahmed Zana said the attack on Bama had lasted for 5 hours on Wednesday morning. The death toll was confirmed by Lawal Tanako, the police commissioner for Borno State, which lies at the epicenter of an insurgency that has killed thousands in the past 4.5 years. He added that the assailants had also partly burnt down the palace of traditional ruler of Borno, whose kingdom is one of the West Africa's oldest medieval capillates. In a new video released yesterday, Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shaku threatened attacks in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta. The attack in Bama comes as one of the several deadly attacks this week. Earlier on Wednesday, Boko Haram fighters attacked a house of an army general in the village of Bornai in the Borno state, killing a soldier guarding it. On a Sunday, they killed 106 people in Igazi village, making it one of their deadliest assaults so far. That prompted the Borno state government to say the rebels were better armed and motivated than the government forces. U.S. State Department spokesman for Africa Will Stevens said in Washington on Wednesday that the senseless targeting of innocent civilians is unacceptable. President Goodluck Jonathan ordered extra troops in northeast Nigeria in May to crush Boko Haram, which wants to create a breakaway Islamic state in the largely Muslim north. But the offensive backed by air power has so far failed. More than 245 people have been killed this year alone. But with a series of gruesome attacks, each lasting for hours, more and more questions are being asked about the effectiveness of the military offensive and the capacity of the armed forces.
More than 850,000 people in Somalia are in desperate need for food and are living in crisis and emergency conditions. According to the director of United Nations Humanitarian Operations, an additional 2 million Somalis out of a total population of 10 million are food insecure.
Earlier this month, the World Food Programme's Food Security and Nutrition Analysis Unit reported that 857,000 Somalis are facing a food shortage crisis and needed urgent humanitarian assistance. United Nations Director on Humanitarian Operations John Ging terms the situation in Somalia as very fragile, though there is a slight improvement from the previous 6 months when 870,000 Somalis desperately needed food. Recently, Somalia has made some strides in security and governance, particularly since August 2011 when Al-Shabaab fighters were flushed out of the capital, Mogadishu.